Guys scoring a second-place victory from Europe in the BattleNet Invitational.
Yep, up against Kimchiman.
Yeah, and Kimchiman.
Who fought their way back from lower bracket, if I understood that video correctly.
All right. So the gates are about to open. Of course, it is top left is going to be the MLS team. Resto Shaman, of course, going to be the spec of the Shaman. And there's probably not going to be many changes to the spec of all these players.
No.
It seems like they've really solidified that. Affliction is definitely the,
for sure.
the spec of choice.
Yeah,
the gates
control.
opens.
The control out of that mage and just, you know, the actually always ticking damage is a huge, huge deal. And I like the race choices. They've pretty much just gone all undead, and of course, DNAW's playing that work to help mitigate kidneys if they do swap over to him. And basically, they're just going to put on Zakharov here from Kimchiman. It looks like he's playing very, very aloof. Iryu hits a impact, but doesn't slow him down at all. He's already in evasion, already into a deep freeze, taking a little bit of damage here. His shield swapped over to him, Shocky. And that Duke just pretty much hanging out free casting. He caught a little bit of an interrupt, maybe tried to fake that fear. Rodriguez caught into a hex, and look at the way it's spreading out. DNAW's caught into a cheat. Someone's always CC'd here.
Oh, look at all that damage, and this is what an RLS can do. He trinkets to get out of that. He was in that smoke bomb right there, which doesn't let his team crowd control off the people who are also in this smoke bomb. Now, he gets himself back up using that Spirit Walker's Grace to be able to cast a wall moving. Pretty big deal at that point. But look, Chucky's is sitting pretty good on mana, actually, considering how much damage that his rogue has been taking so far. But look, stacked crowd control onto a Duken, so he's back-to-back Polys and then Hex.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Koreans just lining things up very, very good. Look, they're kind of taking it easy for a second, setting something else up. Iryu and Duken caught into fears. Actually, Shocky kind of out of position behind a big pillar. But
yeah,
like,
look at this fear. That
all the way out in the open for Iryu. This could be kind of bad for the rogue, but he steps over, and he's going to get on DreamHouse with that Hex, or as the Hex comes in on Zakharov. Iryu getting onto DreamHouse, but he is healed, it looks like.
Oh, and look at that. See, lots of crowd control. It's rough playing against an MLS when you are any sort of melee class because of the amount of crowd control that you're going to sit through, even if you're a rogue.
Yeah, and there's Ring of Frost pretty much directly on the middle of the area's character model. Almost nothing you can do to get out of that except basically walk into it and take a little bit of damage and just get on with things. But right now, he just waits it out, gets back on DreamNAW, so they're going to stick on that healer. And I would not be surprised if Duken started rolling damage across other teammates of DreamNAW from there on the Gamesense DNAW side to start whittling away at his mana pool and start to get someone into kill position. Because right now, no one's spiking too hard. We saw that really, really good smoke bomb spike onto DreamHouse, but nothing like that's been happening so far in the match. I have a very, very strong feeling that's just Kimchiman waiting for the right opportunity, the exact right time to strike, and 100-0 somebody. And Gamesense DNAW doing everything they can to fight back, everything they can to control Iryu, keep him off of them. You see, all those snare effects on him, just kiting. Kiting is the name of the game as an MLS, and Gamesense is definitely doing a good job controlling Ring of Valor so far.
Oh, of course, and you see a vanish by Iryu to get back onto DreamHouse and the healer from the team of Gamesense with a coil on top, but unfortunately that deep freeze was very timely to stop a lot of that damage from the rogue. But look at this, 20,000 hit points right there, and there's the Spirit Link Totem. We have Zakharov trying to get over there, realizing he wasn't going to make it. That Nature's Swiftness comes out with a crowd control toss onto Zakharov right there. DreamHouse is going to be in trouble. He's going to need his team to get him out of here right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately Rodriguez is doing some damage, but I'm not seeing the peels. I'm not seeing big deep freeze peels or even any good polys here so far. And there's an enemy smoke bomb as they all get feared out of it into a Nova. Crazy, that was a chain lightning, crazy amounts of CC going out on both teams.
Pillar comes up. DreamHouse is able to line of sight away for now. The rogue is not able to get back onto him, but the rogue is in trouble. Shocky's right now was very mana conserving all his mana at the beginning of the match, but now we see the swap onto a Duken with all those dots all over him, down to 40,000 hit points, with Shocky's in a poly followed by a blanket CS right there, and there goes the Nature's Swiftness. So both healers on both sides using tons of cooldowns.
My mind is blown a little bit. Rodriguez sitting in blind there, could have quick blocked and gotten on a Duke and probably converted that into a kill, but decided to wait it out. No trinket, and his big defensive cooldown was the only way to get out of that, but he passed on that opportunity. That might come back to bite them here in Ring, because if Kimchiman's able to stabilize, that rogue is just going to consistently pump out damage on a DreamNAW. So when he gets back on him here in probably 10, 15, could be 20 seconds, but inevitably, Iryu is going to find DreamNAW again. He's going to find him without cooldowns.
Now Rodriguez right there, using the pillar to his advantage, was able to cast a lot of frost bolts, just standing up there, not casting any instants whatsoever, hoping for some sort of fingers procs, a bunch of damage.
I'm noticing a very different style of play as well from the US mages to the EU mages. You know, right now he's prioritizing damage more so than control. That might be hurting them, might not be. I still really can't believe he didn't get back on a Dukin. But, you know, health bars tell the story as well. Both these teams do a good job of just countering each other's damage, hiding, and healing for each other. No major communication mistakes. I haven't seen any big cooldowns blown unwarranted.
All right, so the amount of crowd control onto this rogue means that he's not going to be able to get to his target at all. But it looks like the swap is going to be onto Dakaroth, who's at half health right now. Had to trinket just a minute ago, but he does have Earth Shield back up. Now a big deep freeze onto Iru right now with lots of damage coming out.
And
Still down to 30,000 hit points though.
I think he might actually still have Cloak. He just did not use it because Shocky called heals. No, actually Cloak's on 1 minute for him. So looks like Shocky is just being a beast.
I guess he is. Look at this.
But Shockin's
Both teams are playing so well. You know, there was a little while when I thought the Shamans were both going to run out of mana, but not right now. Look at the damage coming out onto the healer, Drudenhouse, the Shaman, but also they flipped it back onto a Duken, and a Duken is taking a ton of damage right there. Oh, the coil onto Drudenhouse.
Yeah, he fakes it into a coil, and he ate 2.8 second kidney, which you know, is a little bit of the orc. It might be possibly a stun reduction matter we might be seeing, although I doubt it. Drudenhouse just doing a good job kiting around, faking a lot of these casts. You know, he's able to keep everybody topped off. I have not seen his healing scroll be interrupted a single time.
So Shocky's deciding to stick through that fear right there instead of tremoring out of it. Again, the second one, but a Duken, he might not have Tremor up at this point because the Duken's down to half life right now. A great deep freeze right there with an impact stun onto a Duken, getting him low. Howl of Terror onto everyone, but it was only a quarter duration.
Yeah, but Shocky is open and healing right now. He is available to do some. Actually, he's coiled, and that's blanket silence on him. It looks like there'll be a major
that
spike.
damage. All right, so the dots are all over Shocky's right now. Not sure if he's going to be able to keep up. We see a cloak on Iru to make sure he can stay on his target and try to stop as much damage as he can. He is running wound poison, which is going to cause Rodriguez some problems.
Yeah, but it's very important that Iru stays on Rodriguez for probably the rest of this match. You know, even though he's got that blazing speed proc to help him get away, and he can mitigate the damage and control that mage.
There's so much crowd control coming out of the team of Gamesense, but they're not able to score a kill. And look at that onto Dakaroth. That is a full kidney, choosing not to trinket it because he has enough trust in his healer.
Oh, and Dakaroth throws down Tide. It is immediately destroyed by a Dukin. So they're going to deny him that mana. And he's actually going to try to get behind Pillar here, maybe try to catch a drink because his team is topped off. Rodriguez in a good position to kite, and Dakaroth has not been a focus target for a while. Shocky, however, caught into a poly, gets out of it. His mana's hurting a little bit. Drudenhouse is drinking. I'm surprised he even got a single tick of that off, to be honest with you, but it was just one. And there we go, yeah, Dukin all over it now, eating that Hex actually.
Now it looks like their target is going to be Iru. Of course, that rogue is having some problems with Dakaroth trying to get all those dots back up. Now it's interesting that they're only choosing 2 of the targets to set up those dots on.
Well, it's vital for them to shut down some of this damage too. And there's a smoke bomb as he gets a kidney down on Drudenhouse, but look at how short that kidney is. Just cannot do enough damage before his teammates can get over there to heal. Time and time again. Ooh, he steps to get out of the ring.
Having to trinket just to get out of that ring because the Shaman wasn't, if he would have hesitated even a second longer. But yeah, they are forcing because he had to use Earth Shield on himself, and that's why the viability of training the Shaman can work out eventually once they start getting low on mana.
Well, that's one of the only ways to get a Shaman to run out of mana is to give him multiple targets to heal. Because as we've seen, they excel at single target healing, especially with that mastery. But a Dukin has been under pressure for a while now. Sub 50% health for probably half this match. Got 50k, just falls over in the middle. Shocky eating a little tiny bit of CC. There's nothing to answer it. Iryu sticking to Drudenhouse instead of mitigating damage. Actually, Rodriguez.
We're gonna have to see what happens because this, Shaman hasn't been doing anything for a little while. All right, but we're gonna make clear play out the rest of the match no matter what.